All right, Shalom. There's a brother Nahalia from the GMS Orlando camp. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasher Allah, and the sincere salutations to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwath, who are believing this word in all truth and in sincerity. Yahweh is the name of the one they ignorantly call God. Yahweh Shai is the name of the one they ignorantly call Jesus. Bahashem is in the name. Rakah is spirit. Kodash is holy. Akyam is brothers. Akwath is sisters. Shalom means peace, and Yasher Allah is Israel in ancient Paleo Hebrew. All right, now I entitled this lesson, MOTB, their rejoicing was to devour the poor secretly. All right, now I want to go into two videos from the author of a new book called The Great Taking. The author is David Webb. That's this guy here on the right. And this was a recent interview done 5 months ago. And then I also want to go into another video with the author of The Creature from Jekyll Island, all right, which is G. Edward Griffin. And David Webb is also on this discussion as well. All right, and I want to go into this through the spirit because, again, you know, the scriptures talk about them making their own tongue to fall upon themselves. And we're in a time through the spirit where everything the Lord has told us is coming to fruition. You know, the Lord gave us the general idea of what's going to happen, and now we're living through those details. All right, this is Habakkuk chapter 3, and I want to jump down to verse 14, and it reads, "Thou didst strike through with his staves the head of his villages. They came out as a whirlwind to scatter me. Their rejoicing was as to devour the poor secretly." All right, and this is what Esau is trying to do in this day and age, beginning with his elites. All right, Esau's elites are attempting to devour the poor. All right, they're going to go into it in this interview. So let's start here. I'm going to start with this one first because they're going to point out who the elites act. I'm not going to say who the elites are, but they're going to point out something concerning the elites. All right, so let's go into it.
I'm going to get back to the I know it's a loaded question, right? But when we say they or the elites want to take, I mean, there's a lot of millionaires, billionaires who watch the show. I know it's not them. So when we say that they,
Yeah.
I mean, is it higher than a Klaus Schwab? I mean, who?
Oh, yes.
What is this entity we speak of that is just evil and plotting this and wants to destroy our lives?
Even George Soros, you know, that everybody has as their child, someone controlling everything. You know, when I knew him, Soros Management had $7 billion, which sounds like a lot. That sounded like a big number. $7 billion is nothing in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
Even George Soros is just, you know, down there in the food chain. Someone like Klaus Schwab is just a useful tool to them. Bill Gates, you can see the man isn't even intelligent. You know, these people are not actually, anyone that you see is not actually behind this. It's.
Now I want to go into that, right? Because let's go to Psalms, the 10th chapter. All right, this is Psalms chapter 10. I'm going to get more of this, but I'm going to just get the point for now. Psalms chapter 10 and verse 8. And it reads, "He sitteth in the lurking places of the villages. In the secret places doth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privily set against the poor." All right, so Esau, the real rulers, the real nobles, all right, are not the ones that we see on a day-to-day basis. All right, they're not the ones who are so visible. All right, they're actually the tools that are being used by the actual elites. All right, matter of fact, let's go here. It's Isaiah 13 and 1. "The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain." That high mountain is the government. "Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles." All right, and what this guy pointed out is that a guy like Bill Gates is not a noble. All right, though he's put up as this rich guy that's doing all this shit, you know, excuse my French. There's somebody behind the scenes that you don't see that he has to answer to. All right, and they use these shell companies, they hide their money, they diversify their money so that you really can't concentrate or pinpoint one person. All right, but they're in secret. They're in secret and they are preying on the poor. And at this point, you know, like he mentioned, Soros, Schwab. He's saying all of those guys are in the food chain. And at this point, Esau's own people have been included in the food chain. All right, let's go back to Habakkuk, the 3rd chapter and the 14th verse one more time. It says, "Thou didst strike through with his staves the head of his villages. They came out as a whirlwind to scatter me. Their rejoicing was to devour the poor secretly." All right, and that is the intent. All right, when you really study Esau's system, all right, whether it's inflation, all right, whether it's fiat currency, all of these are a means to an end to steal wealth, to translate wealth. The first stage was translating the wealth from other nations to the Edomites as a nation of people, right? And now they're beginning to prey upon each other. All right, this is what we're witnessing through the spirit. All right, and the elites of Esau, Edom, their intent is to have full control. All right, which leads me to the next video that I want to go into. All right, and it's from, again, it says in central banking power. Now, the same guy that just talked about the elites, David Webb, he's having a conversation with this individual right here, G. Edward Griffin, and he's the author, for those who didn't catch on the last one. He's the author on this from this book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. All right, he wrote this book in the 90s, but he was talking about how the Federal Reserve, how there's a small group of individuals who are translating the wealth of nations to themselves. All right, and they're using the government, they're using the Federal Reserve, they're using central banking, they're using these as tools to translate the wealth from one people to another. And at this point, when I say one people to another, from the common Edomites to the very elite Edomites, that's where this stage of the game is. All right, and the politicians you see, all of those guys are paid by these high up elites that you don't see. All right, so let's go here. Let's go back to this video here. All right, and I'm gonna just start at the 3-minute mark, and Lord willing, this be edifying.
A river of gold flowing constantly in one direction. A river of
An incredible and awesome power on these people.
Well, it's when I was trying to figure out a way of describing that in the early days, I came up with the idea of imagine a river of gold flowing constantly in one direction. A river of gold so wide that you cannot even think across it, much less see across it.
Yes.
And then you're probably getting close to what we're talking about.
Yes.
Because it's global and it's cumulative and it's continuous. And not every transaction is a package of bubble gum. Many of those transactions are humongous purchases and construction projects and so forth that involve hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. And wars, of course, create the necessary destruction that require reconstruction, and that's very much a part of it. You add all of that together, and it is a river of gold. And it comes from the little man in little pieces, and it's aggregated, and the tributaries gather together into the central banks. And as you mentioned, those central banks are controlled by a relatively small number of people. Yeah. So it's further aggregated, and where it winds up, we can only imagine. But I think an important part of that understanding is that these people don't use that river of gold entirely for their own pleasures or aggrandizement or anything. They use most of it, they spend most of it in the acquisition of control and power over the world. They use that money. It's not just profit to them. To them, it's a business expense, so to speak, because the real goal is not just to make more money. They've got all the money they can possibly spend. Yes. The real goal today, I believe, is to control every human being on the planet. And that,
which leads us to what? All right, it leads us to the MOTB. All right, let's go here. The Wadi Al-Bashim, because these guys, the Lord raises these guys up to explain things that are already confirmed in the scriptures. All right, this is why all of these things go back to precepts in the scriptures. Everything that he's saying about their desire for control. All right, that goes into Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, which we'll get as well. But he said that their intent is to basically control all human beings. So let's go here to Revelation chapter 13 and 15. And it reads, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And this image, all right, it started with the Roman Empire, all right, and it's been perfected in the Western culture, all right, and they're going to digitize it now. So you're basically looking at a digitized version of Rome, all right, and it's saying that anybody who should not worship the beast should be killed. Now that involves physically being put to death, but it also involves being cut out, being separated from the whole, being separated from the system. Because as we go in verse 16, it says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right, so all roads lead to the MOTB. All right, everything that the elites are using, all right, as far as these tools, whether it's inflation, whether it's central banking, whether it's the wars, all right, whether it's the pandemics, all of these things are being used to forward an agenda of control. All right, whether people understand that or not, these are guys who, they study these systems very, let me get to it. These guys, they study these systems, all right? They have backgrounds. David Webb has a background in finance. These are people who understand the complexity, if you will, of the financial system. And what they're saying is that it's basically theft. It's basically Esau's complicated way of stealing. And at this point, he's starting to steal from the average Edomite, and they're waking up to it. And you know what that means, all right? That means we're going to move to the next stage, which is going to be that sedition. All right, so let's continue, all right, with this video here.
And the scale of the resource they have is beyond certainly any cash flow resource from any industry.
Oh, well beyond that.
Because it is essentially all human activity is going to make these payments into this control structure.
That's it. It's so simple.
So let me grab another precept, because this comes to mind as well when he mentioned that. Because they're basically making money off all human activity. That's what they're saying in a roundabout way, that the way the system is set up, you have the elites who are able to make interest off of debt, off of fiat currency. Fiat currency is a great way. Inflation is a great way to steal resources, because power and money, riches are never truly destroyed. They're just translated. The fiat currency system is a way where they can translate wealth almost undetected. Scripture said if it was possible, they will be able to deceive the very elect. All right, so it shows you that Esau's God is his belly. At his core, he's wicked. All right, and they're going to go into it in this video that, there's a way to do things the right way, and they know that, but they capitalize off doing it the wrong way because their God is their belly. All right, this is Ezekiel chapter 28 and verse 2. And it reads, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus. And Esau is a representation of the prince of Tyrus in this day and age. All right, it says, Thus saith the Lord power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the seas. Yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God. And that's what Esau's done. Whether it's the philosophy, the education system, all of it is geared towards being adverse to Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, the Lord told you to have sound money, to not do false weights, false balances. That's an abomination. They do the complete opposite. All right, just like their father, their progenitor, Esau. All right, this is verse 4. It says, With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of God. Because this is what they've done, right? Because one thing that G. Edward Griffin mentioned was that they don't care about the money. They don't care about the money at this point, which shows you that his desire is as hell and is as death, and he cannot be satisfied. Because now that they've got more than heart could wish, the next stage is to be like God. And how? Through control. the sheer agenda of Esau, Edom, dealing with their elites is control. And it's to the point now where they've added their own people into the food chain, man. And it's beautiful through the spirit, because these regular Edomites, they didn't have a problem when they were able to eat at the table. But now that their elites are pushing them away from the table, now they want to say we all bleed red. It don't work like that, man. It don't work like that. Take that up with your elites, but we don't have a dog in this fight. All right, so let's continue a little bit more, Lord willing.
For what you understand it, but it's so large and seems so bizarre to the average person that they can't imagine it, or they think it must be imaginary. And seems so bizarre.
It is essentially all human activity is going to make these payments into this control structure.
That's it. It's so simple once you understand it, but it's so large and seems so bizarre to the average person that they can't imagine it, or they think it must be imaginary. It can't be, nothing like that. We certainly know about it. If something that big were in the room, we would know about it, right? Yes. How large does the elephant have to be before you can see it? And the answer is it has to be bigger than the room. And then you don't see it.
Yes.
You're in it instead of seeing it.
Call Allah me, how about Shemal Shah? That's a beautiful point. This is Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 5. It says, behold ye among the heathen in regard, and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your days, which you will not believe, though it be told you. All right, and it's beautiful because what he's mentioning is that this whole system, this whole elaborate plan, all right, is so big that people can't recognize they're dead in the center of it. You know, that's why they can't believe the things that are being said on the highways and hedges, beginning with our apostles. You think about it, the Lord put the spirit on our apostles to talk about the sea hill when it was just science fiction to the normal person, to the average listener during the 80s, during that time period. To now, we fast forward to the movement of cryptocurrency and the idea of contactless payments. And now we're closer than ever to the process of gradualism, where people just willingly accept the idea of doing payments without any cash. We're at a point now where they have the first Neuralink patient going around the planet, really, all right, doing podcasts and interviews about how blessed he is, so to speak, by the miracle of having a chip implanted in his brain. And it's like this guy said, it seems so bizarre to the average person that the idea that this is what's actually going on is so far-fetched to the average person, but they don't realize you're dead set in the middle of it. And it's beautiful because the Lord has given the spirit to understand this. Not only that, but the Lord showed us that he told us about this before it would even happen, man. All right, let's go here. Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 9. I start at 8. Remember this and show yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. Remember the former things of old, for I am God, and there is none else. I am God, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. And a part of the counsel of the Lord is that they're going to implement something mandatory. All right, the hour of temptation is going to involve something being mandated, that if you don't take it, you can't buy or sell. And that goes for rich or poor, free and bond, all right, small or great. That is a new system. You know, and when our apostles talk about these things, beginning with our apostles, Jake rejects it, but then Edomites will say it, right? Edomites will bring these things out. Well, what appears to be Edomites, right? And then you look at them, and Jake still won't receive it, which goes back to Habakkuk 1 and 5. Behold ye among the heathen and regard and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your days, which you will not believe, though it be told you. All right, and part of that is the son of perdition being revealed, man. He had to be revealed in his time, and this is that time. His own people are bringing out these things about him, man. They're bringing out this evidence. They're bringing out these facts about the system that they've created to rob, pillage, and plunder not only other nations, but their own people, man, which shows you how disgusting and greedy Esau Edom is as a nation of people. All right, this is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and I'll start at 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. All right, now when you go into the NLT, it says, don't be fooled by what they say. All right, because when you watch CNN and Fox News, they make it seem like everything is cool. Like the only thing we need to do at this point is just put Trump in, and then all things will go back to normal. When it's not going to happen. All right. And there was another video I saw through the Spirit, Lord willing, I'll do a lesson on it, where they're showing that as much as Trump is pushed as the anti-establishment candidate, he's funded by these guys as well. Something that we know very well through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah, but to the average person, they have no clue what they're involved in. They have no clue about the system and the people that are ruling over them and their actual intent for them. And then when it's told to them, they still can't believe it. All right, so this is the NLT, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 3. Don't be fooled by what they say, for that day will not come until there is a great rebellion against Yahweh Shema Shai, and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the one who brings destruction. And he's being revealed. Not some one person like Christianity told us, but it's a nation of people. All right, matter of fact, this is 1 John 2 and 18. Little children, it is the last time. And as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. So it's not just one, it's a nation of people. All right, the Lord called them the border of wickedness. All right, and now we're watching their elites steal from them. So a lot of the information we're able to receive through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai is because now the theft is reaching a doorstep of the normal, casual, average Edomite and the middle class, and even the rich Edomites. Because you're going to have a lot of rich Edomites that are going to lose in this time. Because a lot of them are not juiced in. These guys that we see, like he said in this video, the guys that we see all the time, these are not the elites. They answer to somebody. As a matter of fact, let's get this again.
Let me get back to the I know it's a loaded question, right? But when we say they or the elites want to take, I mean, there's a lot of millionaires, billionaires who watch the show. I know it's not them. So when we say that they,
Yeah.
I mean, is it higher than a Klaus Schwab? I mean, who?
Oh, yes.
What is
Well,
this entity we speak of that is just evil and plotting this and wants to destroy our lives?
Even George Soros, that everybody has as their child, someone controlling everything. When I knew him, Soros Management had $7 billion, which sounds like a lot. That sounded like a big number. $7 billion is nothing in the scheme of things.
Yeah.
Even George Soros is just, down there in the food chain. Someone like Klaus Schwab is just a useful tool to them. Bill Gates, you can see the man isn't even intelligent. These people are not actually, anyone that you see is not actually behind this. It's a very small group of people. The people, for example, the guys, the real intelligence behind it is very tiny in terms of the number of people. For example, the changes to the Uniform Commercial Code, that was done by two guys, were the architects of that. So by and large, other people don't understand it. They are chasing money. And this is a principle of Sun Tzu, is you cause your enemy to move into a disadvantaged position by chasing profits. It's easily done. So that's what's been done. Think about our society. People think that they shouldn't do anything unless they're being paid. And whatever they're being paid more to do, that's what they should do. This is how people direct themselves. That is no way to decide what to do.
Now, that's another beautiful point as well through the Spirit, because the scriptures say in Revelation, the 13th chapter, that he calls it all. Now, one of the there was a recent idea. I'm not even going to say a recent, but there's a popular idea of universal basic income, and this is basically the idea of giving everybody a stipend or some kind of allowance, if you will, for their basic necessities. But you have to have a way to receive it, right? Which is the incentive, because what he and G. Edward Griffin bring out is that the end goal of the elites is control. It's not money. So if you're the one that's chasing money, they can trap you easy. All right. Matter of fact, the Wadi Abashim Shah, let's go here. It's Genesis chapter 3:1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai had made. All right, now when you go into this word subtle, because that is what Esau is, he's very subtle. All right, it says subtle, shrewd, crafty, sly, sensible. All right, now when we go to crafty, and we look this up in Google, it says clever at achieving one's aims by indirect or deceitful methods. His end goal is control. Everything else is smoke and mirrors. All right, this is why the scripture said we're not ignorant of his devices. All right, because the Lord said it first. The Lord made this guy. So the Lord basically gave us the behind the scenes, behind the curtain version, the simplified version of who Esau Edom is. His God is his belly. All right, he is adverse to the Heavenly Father, and his end goal is control, beginning with his elites. And this is what we're witnessing. The world is heading down a path, but it will not be completely brought to fruition. All right, and we know that according to prophecy. As a matter of fact, let's go here. Let's go to Job, the 20th chapter. All right, this is Job chapter 20 and verse 22. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And that wicked, all right, let's just go into it. All right, when you go into the word wicked, amal, all right, amal, and it says labor, suffer, wretched one, labor, workman. All right, because there's going to be sedition. When these average Edomites figure out the plan that's in play, when they figure out that they've been hoodwinked, even by guys like Trump, they are going to react. All right, now let's go back. This is Job 20:22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh Shema Shai shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. You know, it reminds me of the Elder Ariala bringing out that, you know, before World War III really breaks out full-fledged, you know, the MOTB is going to be implemented. And the MOTB is the plan of the elites. World War III isn't necessarily their plan as far as the full-scale World War III. They profit off of wars. They profit off of rumors of wars. But the actual destruction of the infrastructure, they're not planning that. That's when the Lord's going to take the wheel. Esau, and the Lord had the wheel the whole time, you know, Salakia. But Esau has this idea that he's in control. But he's going to realize very late in the game that he was never in control. All right, this is Isaiah 10:15. Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith? Or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it? As if the rod should shake itself against them that lift it up, or as if the staff should lift up itself, as if it were no wood. All right, Esau is simply a tool. All right, and when he is about to fill his belly, when he's about to finally put the period at the end of the sentence of this long plan of control, the Lord's going to rain it down upon him, man. All right. So I just wanted to go into those two videos through the Spirit. You know, Lord willing, you know, I may do another lesson on another part of that video that I found interesting through the Spirit and power of Yahweh by Shema Shai. But as far as this lesson, you know, the point was made. So with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who are the elders of Yasher Allah, and a sincere salutation to all Yuakim, who are preaching this word and believing this word, and to the Akwad, who will believe in this word and all truth. and in sincerity. Shalom.